How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Is It a Buyer, where we talk about stocks and try to determine if they are with the buyer, maybe a pass. My name is Corey. I'd just like to preface the video by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks, so please take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Let's get into the video today. Today we are talking about good old Robinhood, all right? So Robinhood is looking mighty nice right now, right? Somehow they're up 50% on the day, 50.41% on the day, retracing a little bit in the after hours, down 6.11%. We can see during the day they hit $70.39. In the after hours they ended the day at $66.09, right? Which is up super huge, considering how they completely, their IPO really didn't go. It started off good and then it kind of crumbled, right? So I figured, I think it's very interesting how Robinhood is having a pretty good run right now, considering the state of their company. And I want to talk about this because I find it so very, very, very interesting how sentiment and fundamentals of a company really don't matter right now. It's absolutely insane. Everything going on with companies such as GameStop, AMC, Robinhood, all of the things are just kind of thrown out the window, and it's just wild right now. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll just hop right into what's going on. So let's go ahead and start on Webull right here. Let's look at the sentiment for, now keep in mind, this is a very specific demographic on Webull, how they feel about the stock. And we can see here, I voted mine, 76% of people on Webull are bearish on the stock, right? 76%. Okay. A lot of people are bearish on this stock, and 24% bullish. I think it's a pretty clear indicator. Now, granted, a lot of people who went to Webull from Robinhood, they most likely left Robinhood because they didn't like the manipulation that was happening whenever they halted trading. No matter what you say, it's not only allowing people to sell a stock and not buy a stock whenever 99% of the people trading that stock are on one platform, aka Robinhood, is market manipulation. It's very, very clear what it is. It's calling a duck, and that's what I truly believe. All right, so we can see here. Now, granted, I would say this is a little skewed, but even then, these are very, 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 very strong numbers, right? For sentiments, okay? And so I figured, okay, well, I'm not just going to give one source. Let's look at multiple sources. So I went ahead and went over to StockTwits, which is a very popular platform where a lot of people voice their opinion. Granted, there's only 36,000 people who looks like they kind of voted on here, but even then, we can see the sentiment on here for Robinhood. And keep in mind, this is a newer stock that just IPO'd. For Robinhood is still 35%, and this has gone up by 5% today because of what happened, how it ran. 35% bullish, meaning 65% bearish, right? I mean, it's again not as crazy as these numbers, but still very, very wild whenever it comes to the actual sentiment of the stock. I think it's a pretty clear indicator of how people are not liking the stock. I mean, and we're going to get into the fundamentals of why I don't think it's a good stock and why I think that the stock, it's not making any sense. Okay. One thing I did want to pull up over here is just capital.com. This is a company I like to look at for trade. And here's another one, right? This is the opposite side. And I have no problem showing this because you can derive your own opinions. And whether you trust Webull, whether you trust StockTwits, whether you trust capital.com or whatever other site, I don't know if Seeking Alpha or whatever, or somebody else has a sentiment tracker, but take a look for yourself. And if you find something interesting, let me know. I'd love to see it. And so this one over here, trading sentiment, and this is more buys versus sells. This is not really a voting system. We can see there are buyers and, there are sellers as well, but they're much more buyers than sellers. And so this kind of is just another piece to take with a grain of salt, per usual. Okay. And I just wanted to point everything out. I'm not here to, if I wanted, I could have just not shown this and then there goes that. But that's not really how I like to do things. I like to just be fully transparent and kind of show what I see. All right. So let's go ahead and jump over to the next thing, right? So let's talk about a little bit about fundamentals, right? And again, I'm just going to pull one. This is what I saw. And I was like, I'm wondering about, something like the EPS for earnings per share for Robinhood compared to other stocks, right? And I figured, okay, Robinhood is great. Theoretically, I saw a negative EPS and I was like, ooh, that's not very good considering they actually should have done very, very well during the pandemic. Okay. A lot of people started trading during the pandemic and continued to trade. There was a whole bunch of new traders that hopped in. The news was talking about everybody's been talking about how many new traders are in the market right now, to the point where even big dogs like Warren Buffett is kind of confused on how to do some trades because the apes don't really follow fundamentals, right? The fundamentals of companies, they're more of a buy and hold and just wait it out. If the stock drops 10%, buy more, which is not really traditional trading, how it's typically done. So a lot of people are confused and how to, like more seasoned people are kind of confused on how to trade because of all the stuff going on with new investors, okay? So their EPS, let's talk about EPSs really quick, specifically on Yahoo Finance with the TTM at the end. So a company's profits or earnings are divided by the total number of outstanding shares of stock to calculate the earnings per share, TTM. Earnings per share is usually abbreviated as EPS, and the TTM that follows stands for trailing 12 months. This means that the EPS, TTM is the total earnings or profits the company has made over the last 12 months. Okay. And it does go on to say, this isn't necessarily coincided with the fiscal year, but I think this is great because everyone's on the same playing field whenever you look at that. Okay. Now, if we look at this, we can see they have a negative 6.12 EPS. And keep in mind, over the past 12 months, a lot of people have been trading. A lot of people have been entered the stock market. I guarantee you probably know at least one person, well, whether it's you or somebody else, that has hopped into the stocks. And you've seen a lot of new people trading for sure, right? There's no way. So I figured, okay, let's go ahead and compare this to a company that I feel probably did well during the pandemic, right? A company that probably did well during the pandemic is Amazon. A lot of people were ordering from Amazon from home. They got their stimulus checks, they were placing orders and all that stuff. So we can see their EPS was 57.40, okay? Whereas, again, 57 for a company that I think did well during the pandemic, and Robinhood right here, who is negative 6.12. Okay. Very big difference. So I figured, okay, well, that's a company that did good. What about a company that did terrible during the pandemic, has been doing terrible, no earnings, just not doing well at all? I figure Carnival Cruise Line, that's probably a great play. Why? Or a great person to look at, because they have not been cruising. They've been, I'm sure, teetering on bankruptcy, just a terrible company, right? So negative 6.12. Amazon at 57.4, and Carnival is at negative 9.31. This company that did absolutely terrible during a pandemic because they couldn't, leave port, they couldn't sail, they couldn't do their cruises, or the cruising, whatever the term is, they couldn't do anything. They were stuck. And even then they had a negative 9.31 EPS. Okay. So that's just a little more on the fundamental side of what's going on. So let's say we talk about the fundamentals here and we say, okay, well, you know what? EPS is just one little factor. Who cares about that? Maybe it's a fluke, whatever. So let's go ahead and hop into something else, right? We're talking about fundamentals here in this company, why people think it's going to be so great. Up 50% on a day. That's no joke. That's pretty nice. And so why would people buy this stock? Let's take a look at another thing going on, right? This is from December of 2020, right? I've covered this on my channel before, but remember, the SEC charged Robinhood with financial misleading customers about revenue sources and failing to satisfy duty of best execution. So keep in mind, Robinhood, whenever you place an order, they have to they have to purchase the shares at the best possible price, right? And these guys, best execution, they failed to do that, and they misled their customers about revenue sources, and they were charged. They had to pay the SEC. They agreed to pay $65 million to just settle the charges. That's just to settle, right? If this would have gone, if you know anything about the legal system, if this would have gone on and they would have gone, I don't know if they would have go to trial or anything like that, but 65 million is a whole lot of money, right? This is not good publicity for the company. Okay, this is not a good thing. I was like, okay, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe they made a mistake. All right, let's let it pass. All right, let's see what we have next. Okay, well, another situation. All right, this is June. This is 6 months later. All right. Robinhood to pay $70 million for outages and misleading customers in the largest ever FINRA penalty. All right. So we have $65 million, now 70 in the largest record setting FINRA penalty. Again, okay, well, that doesn't sound very good either. They continuously are misleading their customers, and and remember, they have outages. What happened in January? Well, what happened in January? They halted the stock, but it wasn't necessarily outages. But we've heard of outages constantly with crypto in Dogecoin and Bitcoin and stuff, especially whenever those cryptos are running, they always have outages. Oh, you can't buy or sell. I hear all these nightmare stories, and somehow people continue to stay with the company. Okay, so again, if you're looking to invest in a company, you think I want to invest in a company, let's take away the EPS for a second. Let's just look at they keep having issues. They keep having to pay huge, literally a record-setting fine. Do you think I want to invest in this kind of company? Absolutely not. I don't know who these investors are, who's hopping in these stocks, especially, well, we'll continue. All right. Well, actually, I do want to finish my thought. Especially, who wants to hop in the stock, especially whenever anyone trading Robinhood has to know, because the apes have been stirring a lot of attention. Anyone who is investing in the stock has to know that the sentiment behind the stock is so negative, right? All of the apes, nobody wants to touch the stock, whether it's puts or longs or whatever it is. No one wants to get in the stock. And I don't know who would invest in a stock that everyone hates so bad. Okay, so let's go and continue over here. On top of if these two fines, over $65 million and $70 million have not deterred you enough. On top of that, there's and this is in February, right? This has gone up. I think this is closer to 60 or 70 now. Robinhood is facing nearly 50 lawsuits over the GameStop frenzy. Now, if any of these will stick, who really knows? But, a lot of people have been having huge issues with this stock. And my screen just cut out. Story of my life. I'm going to go ahead and get this fixed, and we're just going to continue. So a lot of people have been having these issues with freaking Robinhood. I mean, there's no way that you think that this is a good stock with everything going on, right? With all this negative publicity, all of this, these lawsuits, all of the crazy stuff going on. It's unreal. All right, let's go and continue. Robinhood business model under file at GameStop hearing in Congress. Remember, and the only reason I have this up is to just so I wouldn't forget that, remember, not only did they halt trading, they've had all these fines, it's just not looking good. They keep misleading their customers. They're also, under fire, in the congressional hearings. These guys did not have a good answer as to why they halted trading. They still don't have a good answer, in my opinion, as to why they halted trading. They handled it absolutely terribly. Their PR is bad. The sentiment behind the company is bad. Everything is bad for this company, but somehow people are investing in it. I don't know who these people are. I haven't seen any apes, not even any shills, saying, I'm investing in Robinhood. I'm so excited. And, maybe I'm missing them, but I haven't seen anyone talking about Robinhood in a positive light. Okay. And on top of that, imagine how many people they lost. So not only they have fines, they did this, they also lost customers. They lost all of this. So, and keep in mind, this is just a poll or whatever. And so this poll says, Robinhood has severely damaged its brand. More than half, 56% of Robinhood account holders are considering leaving the platform as a result of the fiasco, the halting. 40% of Robinhood investors say they aren't considering it, and 4% said they already left the platform, right? So, let's say we just broke it down into concrete numbers, which I don't think it'll be concrete, but even then, right? Let's say it's 60%, right? 56 plus 4%, we'll call it 60%, just to make it easy math. And then let's take that and let's do one better. Let's cut that 60% in half and say 30%. Can you imagine 30% of its customer base leaving? And how bad that would be for Robinhood, who gets paid off of selling customer information to people like Citadel, institutions like Citadel, and their whole business model of how they're doing the free trading, which I'm sure they just take a few pennies off the top, which I personally don't mind. But selling all that information, selling your trading information, not to mention the payment for order flow, where these institutions and this is where the conflict of interest come in. These institutions like Citadel, who they sell your information to, your trading information to, they have these systems where they can theoretically trade before you and just get in before you can and get out before you can. I mean, it's ridiculous how they're allowed to trade. I mean, it's just, I don't want to get into the details of that because that goes on, but it's just unreal. So, the reason why I'm bringing all of this up, and keep in mind, this was back in February. So people were upset. Who knows if these numbers are higher or lower, if out of this 56%, if anyone did leave. I happen to believe that a whole bunch of apes did leave because I talk to them all the time. But yeah, so with all this being said, there's no way that you can tell me that this is a solid company with good fundamentals, with that is going to be very successful, that's going to trade very well. There's no way you can tell me any of that information, because based on what we just saw, this company is really not a good company to invest in. And again, this is my own personal opinions and biases, but please make your own financial decisions and do what you want to do. But whenever I look at these kinds of numbers, these kinds of the sentiment, just everything that we just looked at, I don't need to go over it all again, but whenever we look at these kinds of things, it just is very telling about what is going on. And people, you may say, oh, well, AMC's fundamentals aren't that good and blah, blah, blah. Whether AMC's fundamentals are good or bad, and, keep in mind, they're opening, they're not going bankrupt, they have a lot of things going for them. If you took all that away, it's still about a technical position for a short squeeze, which is a whole different conversation than the fundamentals of a company. Whereas Robinhood is not in that kind of position for like a short squeeze or anything like that. It's just the actual fundamentals of the company, because it's not a heavily shorted company or anything like that. Whenever you look at these kinds of things, it is just shocking is what I'll say. So I don't want to go in circles too long, but you guys know how I feel about this. I just wanted to point all of this out just in case anyone's like thinking about, I mean, if you want to jump ship, do what you want to do, but just in case anyone had any thoughts like, are we crazy? Like, are the apes wrong? I really, really personally do not believe the apes are wrong in their predictions of GameStop and all that. But more importantly, like, I don't want people to think that, Robinhood is like, oh, maybe it is a great company. I personally don't think it's a great company. We've seen the way how they handle their customer service. We've seen how they have huge issues to the point where, unfortunately, a young man committed suicide because of the glitch, saying that he owed $700,000, which was just a glitch. But there's so many different things that are wrong with this company, including stock manipulation, that is just it just upsets me that they have a plus 50% day on a company that really just doesn't make any sense, in my personal opinions. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. I can talk about this all night in my frustration, but I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch the video. If you do like the content, please consider subscribing if you're not already. If you want people to see this, if you want people to know, like, hey, you're not crazy, this company is like not a good fundamental company, they really don't have a reason to have such a 50% day, for no other reason than potentially maybe the hedges are pumping. I've seen that theory, but I can't confirm nor deny that. You can make your own decisions. If you want people to see this, like the video, let them, share it, whatever you want to do. But I'll leave it there. You guys have a fantastic night. Thanks so much. Peace.